On November 2nd, 2014, Andar 1996 posted something to the DeviantArt named Five Nights at Treasure Island. It was a concept of what Abandoned by Disney mixed with Five Nights at Freddy's would look like. A month later, on December 1st, 2014, after a few teasers, a demo of 1.0 released. Despite how shallow the original version was in the game's hellish development cycle, it was still a very important fan game since it was the first of its kind, and basically spawned a whole series of fangames, for better or for worse. After Radiance took over development and began finishing up the fangame series, they have released 2 anniversary games which I want to talk about today. Hey guys, Buster here. In today's video we're going to be talking about 2 Treasure Island anniversary games, Anniversary Edition and Abandoned Enigma. Like I mentioned in the intro, these games were both released for the anniversary of the original Treasure Island demo. With all that said and done, let's get to the games themselves. First off, Anniversary Edition, this game was actually released on December 23rd, 2020. The reason for this is while it was finished before 6.0, they didn't want to release it because they were scared of overshadowing it with this. And now that I fully played it, I totally understand why. Instead of describing this game, I think describing how I felt playing this game will do a better job at explaining it. Imagine being a FNAF fan game player in mid-2017 who only played the original Treasure Island made by Anart, and seeing all these fan games with poor ideas and execution never being finished. You of course are annoyed by this, and because of that your brain has pretty much compressed all those revivals into one game, and this was what it is. This game is pretty much a side dish before the main course. There is nearly nothing special about this game. The story is just the average you are Jake and stuck on Treasure Island. The mechanics are literally just shutting off the cameras and hiding under the desk. The pirate caverns do not exist. The AI isn't that great, and I almost ran out of cameras at some point. I think it's interesting to know that the game ends just like how FNAF 1 does, with you getting your paycheck and you getting fired on max 20 mode. This game was also delisted after Radiance updated the Treasure Island archive page despite the game not even being on the page. You guys remember 5.0? The version of the game that was super surreal and nobody knew until I made my video about it? Abandoned Enigma was basically 5.0 if it was complete and contained a bunch of other references. It is basically a love letter to the Five Nights at Treasure Island community while also being a parody of itself. If Anniversary Edition was a side dish, then this is the dessert after the main meal. Just instead of after, it's before, but whatever. The suits in this one are weird. The names and designs are a bit played on in a certain way that I don't know how to describe, but it's definitely unique. They feel more accurate to the actual characters while also playing off the 2015 Treasure Island charm, if that makes any sense. The entire environment, like I said, is mainly just a finished 5.0 style, and I'm honestly glad they referenced it a decent bit. 5.0 is such a surreal version that is extremely underrated and glossed over. This 5.0 also boils down to mechanics where the door and the flashlight return, and you got your average shot of the camera, hide under the desk, and power shutdown. Most characters have a unique way with how you deal with them. For instance, Inverted Minnie has you lead her into different rooms by shutting off cameras just behind her, while for Donald you need to close the door, and Undying, the Red Man, you need to hide under the desk. Though, interestingly, Undying in this game apparently has no name. Red Man is just a side name. The kill timers are still not forgetting, but that's pretty common for these games by now. The pirate catacombs are also really weird. Just to reference the Peak of Horror, you need to collect 8 pages like Slender. You have a flashlight, and the face is down here with you, and you just need to turn off your flashlight when it interferes like this. These 8 pages contain a number, and at the end you need to head towards the safe in the beginning, and you have to input these numbers into the safe, and then quickly pick up the tape and a piece of paper. And you better be awake, because then you have a very quick chase sequence where you need to rush backwards to the elevator in a specific way, or you are just dead. Don't be stupid like I was and spend 15 minutes going the same path just because I thought I was too slow. Of course, this game has a fair share of Easter eggs like the Shade Mini 2.0 and several ADI 2.0 characters are referenced. However, what is interesting is that both Anniversary Edition and Abandoned Enigma have this Mickey phone off the side. Funny enough, I actually ran into this phone in real life once. But what is interesting is that this phone has no Easter eggs tied to it, which I find interesting. Like, there was just a perfect opportunity to hide something in it. And on the topic of mysteries and Easter eggs, this game is kind of one of those. Let me explain. Now, to put into context, that seems like this game takes place in an alternative universe, so let's talk about that real quick. After you beat the game, there will be a folder on your desktop named Output. This contains multiple notepad files, each of which you will get after every night. These notepad files detail a story where a development team named Acid Rain is working on a FNAF fan game which was apparently existed in the later part of 2014, as well as telling you how to progress at certain points like holding CD8 on the demo screen to access the full game. There are even screenshots of a game page being a thing at one point. This was also part of an ARG that was hosted on the Radiance YouTube channel. These videos are interesting enough in their own right, so let me talk about the first one real quick. Trailer 1 has a little sequence of inverted Mickey taking off his head before the following dialogue appears. Can't believe it just went away like that. So many years of hard work down the drain. I regret having anything to do with the game. I thought it looked pretty interesting. I wonder what happened to it. The graphics were really surreal. It looked like something else. That thing with the ugly face always freaked me out. Probably one of the most unfaithful game adaptations I've ever seen. To save some time, the rest of the videos are basically like this, where it talks about this Lost FNAF fan game that was basically described as a stupid Mickey meets FNAF idea. However, as we go through this, it is revealed that the developers were apparently stalked by Disney themselves and potentially dead. There are several remarks about this also being based on a true story, so is it? Okay, so I'm throwing this in at the last minute because I somehow entirely missed this, but the developers being stalked and killed was a parallel to Corrupt This, the thread abandoned by Disney creepypasta, where it was mentioned that Disney was silencing information about Treasure Island to the extent of stalking people who knew about it. Acid Rain was an anagram for Radiance, and all the developers seen in the chat logs are mashups of different people, like how NLLN is a mashup between Anart1996 and Andrew. This is some weird alternative reality where Acid Rain created Treasure Island and Disney found out and started hunting them down for it. Fun times, am I right? This is definitely one of the most interesting things I've had to look into for this channel, and while I do wish more fan games did something like this, I might just be asking for more people to overuse the content until it loses its coolness and is no longer unique. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. This is one of the more interesting games I've covered on the channel, and I'm upset I didn't get to it sooner. Do the average YouTube stuff if you like the video, and I'll see you next time. It feels good to be back. I honestly had a bit of a depressive phase from all of what happens, and I'm learning that I can do the thing I love again, and hopefully that gives me... It's giving me a lot of hope for the future. But granted, I do want to have a little talk. I think from here on out, I'm going to work on longer videos that are more spaced out, since I'm not totally happy with the quick explain videos. I'll still get them, but I think this one revealed quite a bit with how drained I sounded at parts, especially since I'm at my final semester of school and things are getting busy. But the next two videos should be more comprehensive info dump interesting videos that should be over 10 minutes each. I can't guarantee for sure, but it's probably worth mentioning.